compilation of everybody.
I'll put the address here in the chat, and I'll share my screen.
So are those recent names, or is that from before?
We had 100 from before.
Okay.
Okay. So these are all people that have signed up in the last week, from about 100 on. Okay, there's a couple of spurts of activity. But these, people, put in, their skills and experience, and a lot of them are software development. Okay, and you have to click on it to see it. They don't wrap, a lot of these fields don't wrap, some of them do. We only have comment only on the document. Currently, I did request.
Not everybody has an email address.
Oh, okay. I had view only. Now I have comment.
Okay.
Okay, so now I can click on anything and make a comment about it. All right. And then whoever the editors are, they can take my suggestion or not.
Yeah, some of these emails are bogus, but that's okay.
So,
well,
we're redoing the governance, and we're looking to categorize these people and reach out to them and engage them, get them to commit some time to work with RChain, help RChain succeed, and then the challenge of governance is to use them effectively. Now, we have maybe a dozen people now doing nothing that have offered time. But Gary's one of them. He stepped up to the plate. Well, he stepped up to the plate a long time ago. He's been helping with the member meetings and other stuff going, a lot of stuff going way back. He was a community manager at one point. I mean, he still is, but that community is defunct.
Right. Yeah, I just want to know, like the governance, that's your bailiwick. For me, I want to know how I could get people writing dApps and creating business plans.
Yeah. Well, I'm a customer. I need dApps.
Yeah. That's
okay, and I'm developing dApps. So, I mean, obviously, we need a good chat system and everything in order to run a community and to have, we can't be voting in Discord, right?
Yeah.
There's having discussions and such, but mainly controlling access to our stuff, sharing our capabilities, delegating our responsibilities to RChain itself and to people in order to do our stuff so we can retire. But our budget, we haven't gotten any money since the financial crisis into the collab, and so we've been spending it off 10,000 rock a month, but it's going to run out. So hopefully the board will be inclined to provide support for this month and next month, which means that we can actually pay a JavaScript programmer in Rock to help, to guide us. We don't want it done for us. We just want guidance in doing it. You know, somebody who knows Node, GitHub, and JavaScript, you know, could to mentor us so that we can get this job done. Without that, we're the blind leading the blind. It's pathetic. So that's where we are. Hi, Addie. Glad you could join us. I don't know if you can turn your camera on. It enhances the collective intelligence. Everyone can see your handsome face.
Hey guys, you give me a few minutes and I'll see what I can do.
Okay. So it's early in the morning tomorrow for him. He's probably got bedhead.
Would you show me right quick how to log into robot.net? I forgot.
Do you use an SSH client or the command? How do you use the command line?
SSH?
Git. Yeah. What do you use? Git bash? Or the Windows?
Most of mine, I either use the one on Glitch or Node.js bash.
Node.js bash. Well, you got to have Git bash, right? You got Git on your machine, right?
Yeah.
Git bash is a much better bash. So if you just type in bash in your search bar or Git, it should come up. You want to share your screen?
Yeah.
Okay. And pay attention, Steve. And Ned, I don't know if you'll ever be logging into our shared machine, which we cooperatively manage.
Okay, now what? It's
well, you're going to have to tell it more than that. You want to SSH space RChain at robot.net. Okay, and then you put in the password we share. You wrote it down? I can pause the recording. Okay, resuming recording. Hi, Adi. It's good to see you.
Hey guys.
hey, Audie.
Hey, Audie.
Hello.
Hey, been a while.
Great. Here we go, man.
Yeah, you don't have to leave your camera on, but it's always appreciated if you turn your camera on when talking. You know, I know you well enough that I don't really, it's not really necessary, although it does improve the communication. All the evidence is that you get better communication with a higher bandwidth.
Yeah.
I guess, do you know Audie, Ned?
Just from being on the Zoom, but I don't think I've ever visually met you before, Adi. Nice to meet you.
That's probably the first time. Sorry, sometimes bandwidth out here can be low in the mornings. I don't know why. But,
Where are you located?
New Zealand.
Oh, okay. It's about opposite sides for me.
Yeah,
I'm in
pretty much. Yeah.
Awesome. I suppose we should have a round. This is the dApp developers or the dApp developers meeting. What expectations or what hope? What do you think what do you hope you might get out of the meeting, Adi?
Good question. I suppose it's really just learning off you guys, which even though, as we said previously, we need external help as well. It's more probably understanding better use cases of what we can actually do with the apps. Because at this stage, I'm still trying to think what a effective implementation would be, and I don't really know it well enough to understand how it could be used and the benefits it has.
Yeah, well, when you first joined the collab, you were learning things rapidly, and attaining this competence. What do you next? Have you thought about what kind of apps you might want to do or learn or?
Not yet. That's sort of what I want to figure out.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, one thing that is interesting, and I kind of alluded to it a couple of weeks ago, is, when we have people on the call, as far as, when we familiarize ourselves, to kind of go into, the background as far as, what computer programs or syntaxes they might know or have learned. So I'm just curious, with you, Audie, what familiarity do you have with the different syntaxes or computer languages that are out there?
Not that much. It's really just what I've covered with Jim. So that's kind of mainly a bit of PHP and some JavaScript. Well, very JavaScript.
Yeah,
okay.
Audie's an example of a noob that started at zero.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, when you guys were working on that Dig Life project, and I saw all that code, flashing across my screen, I thought I was watching the work of a seasoned veteran. So that fooled me. So okay. So and what we might do, Jim, is to maybe take kind of an inventory of each individual skill sets, so we can have kind of this picture of who knows what. So, if we have, project in mind, it's like, oh, well, such and such knows this application. And, who's ever wants to work on a project, we can kind of say, hey, connect the two. So it's that collective intelligence that we talk about. It starts, I think, with us knowing each other's expertise. Now, my expertise, even though I'm on the collab, I'm kind of like you, Audie. The programming that I did was back in high school and college. I did BASIC in high school and then Fortran in college, and I don't think no one uses either one of those to nowadays.
Not true. Not true.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but my background or expertise is maybe more on the business side, and I have some skills in working with Adobe InDesign. I can create fancy one-pagers for marketing and fundraising efforts. But my motivation is to learn Rolang because I'm involved with a transit project here in the Tampa Bay area in Florida. Tampa Bay, just like all regions of the U.S. and probably New Zealand as well, we struggle with traffic. So if we bring in get new transit in Tampa Bay area, I want to create a digital transit token. That's my goal with RChain, is to create a digital representation of the transit token. So in kind of pursuing down that path, I'm learning Rolang, and another thing, a task that I've kind of assigned myself is with Greg has his 12 presentations on process calculi. So Rolang, as I think one of I can't remember, his last name is Butts. Anyways, it's been commented that Rolang is simple but not easy. So it looks kind of simple, but there's a lot of power to it. And what I found is understanding the mathematics behind it, the process calculi. So when I look at a line of code, I can kind of decipher what I'm looking at. So, and these 12 presentations, links to them, a good repository, I think, ultimately might be the rolang.org website that Joshi created. So I'm going to gather up the 12 process calculi presentations, get their title, their links, and talk to Joshi about where would be a good place to put this list of resources that someone can go to. But so that's kind of my endeavors as far as what my objectives are in my background. So Ned, now you had mentioned the other day that you learned programming by getting the Compute magazine and working through the code in the magazine. But I'm curious, as far as proficiency in computer syntax, computer languages, what areas where do you have your strengths?
Well, I was only one way that I learned. Basically, I just learned by doing, and then.
Are you a Java, C++, JavaScript?
No, when I started, it was all just straight C and assembler.
Okay.
And then I did a little Visual Basic. Actually, I did a lot of Visual Basic, a lot of C++. I've worn a lot of hats over the years. I've been an object model architect, a data architect, and I've always coded. I have always, let me put it this way, in 35 plus years of hiring programmers, yeah. I don't think I've hired more than one person with a computer science degree. I believe the way you learn to be a good programmer is you sit down and you write code.
Okay.
And not wait for a teacher in a classroom to teach you the theory. You just have to do it. It's like a language. It's like a language. You have to speak it. You have to write the code. Right. You have to actually have projects that are meaningful to you, and then your passion will take you to bring them to code complete. Even if you stay up all night for many nights in a row. To me, those are the earmarks of the best developers I've ever worked with.
Cool.
I think that it's just, there's no easy way to do it. Although I have no problem people running, I think JavaScript is a perfectly fine language. You could do a lot with JavaScript. You don't have to dive into like the deep hardcore languages. But, everybody's going to have a different passion. And so right now, I want people who are going to get passionate about building dApps. I want to see people who see a need, like you said, creating this transit token. Yeah. What does that look like? What does that mean? How is that beneficial? What are the use cases? People who are writing dApps, they need to sit down and write high level use cases. What's the thing going to do?
Right, right.
You know, I did watch that transit video you sent me, and it's pretty cool looking.
Well, next month, July in Texas, there's going to be a working model of that. So
That's
once
amazing.
once I get some video of that, uh, uh, then I'll be happy to share it with everyone. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so that's why I'm here. I want to support the new generation of Rolang developers who are building real dApps, and how is that going to look? And
well, let me propose something. So, you have kind of a taste for the area that I'm interested in, and my background and what my strengths and limitations are. So this is, a project that I want to work on, and having someone to kind of engage with, to kind of help me walk, to kind of architect it, perhaps, is in your role and capacity at RChain. Is that something that you would be open to doing, as far as working with individuals on individual projects and things like that?
absolutely.
Okay, well, cool. That's and I don't want to, dominate these Tuesday sessions, but having that assistance of what are the things that we need. You've got a project. Create a digital transit token on RChain. Where do you start? How do you begin? What at the very high level, and you got to drill down, and what documents need to be created, and this could be kind of a learning exercise, perhaps, to get a better understanding of what's involved. But
so I've worked with lots of different methodologies for doing that, but basically it comes down to what are the features and what's the functionality.
Okay.
And you start at a high level. My app is going to have these 10 features, and this is the functionality behind them. And we could call those use cases, but again, I don't really care about the formality. It's like when you go to write, remember back in school, you're going to write a thesis or an essay, teachers always said start with an outline.
Right.
So you kind of know the direction you're going. So that's really, however you want to do that, just come up with, okay, here are the top features and here's the functionality. And then we can morph that into some use cases, high level, very, very high level use cases. And then you take one use case and you drill into it. So I'll give you an example. I want people to log in with a password. Okay. So that's a feature, right?
Right.
So we're not even talking about creating the user interface yet. We're just saying, okay, I need to have some kind of user ID. So maybe it's an email address, and then I need a password. Okay, so that's very high level use case. And we're not even talking where it's stored yet, how the back end is going to deal with it, or what it looks like. Just that's functionality, right? And then if you drill down a little bit, okay, users always forget their password. So in addition to logging in with a password, I need to be able to recover a lost password. Okay, so that's now another piece of functionality that goes with that feature set, right? If you're in a corporate arena, you want that user ID to be tied to LDAP or some kind of corporate maintain active directory of users and roles and responsibilities. If not, then you need a way not just to log in, but for a user to create, their login account. So you see, so the very humble one statement, I need users to log in, you start drilling into it and you kind of create this spider web. And that's where the hard work is. Before we even we haven't coded anything yet, but we now have to think through all these nooks and crannies, and you have to do them kind of one by one.
Well, let me propose this. Creating, regardless of what app someone is trying to creating a user account is a fundamental aspect of most applications. So if we were to, as a group, collectively work on what are the components that need to happen in order for someone to create a user account with that first aspect of creating your username and password.
Actually, you've already worked on that.
Okay.
It's called Make My Locker.
Okay,
exactly. Okay.
Well,
in your use case,
yeah,
getting an account is maybe swiping your credit card. That's how a person may get an account. Okay.
Yeah. But you guys are,
that would need to trigger running Make My Locker.
Okay. But you guys are jumping the gun. You're already on the implementation, and we haven't even flushed out the functionality.
That's true. So, but I just wanted to point out that we're that we are doing that. We're working on that exact function. But I think the point about user stories, or thinking about user stories, is important in that what do users of this service need? And it's not all about software. Okay, what does the state of Florida need? Well, they need this report. Okay, well, somebody has to mail that report to them, or whatever, or maybe they have a login and they get the report. But whatever, that's a user story that some stakeholder or user needs. And then you have your programmers. What do they need? Okay, so you're not just talking about what you're going to write. You're talking about all the user stories around what you write.
Right. And Jim, if I could just give a little color to what you said, that was a great example. State of Florida needs a report. So that's the feature that's needed, right? The program needs to have a report, and you can even abstract that level higher. Reports are needed for compliance. And then you drill down, a use case under that would be the state of Florida needs a report, or the state of New York needs a report. And then the implementation is it gets printed and now somebody goes to the mailbox and drops it in the mail. But I would say we're not even at that implementation yet, because the first thing we need to do is map out all the features that are needed, or at least a really healthy chunk of features, because then we have to start doing like reality checks, like how long is it going to take? What resources do we need? I could tell you for a fact, most software starts off, they want 1,000 features, right? It's, you do this exercise, here's 1,000 features, but then you say, okay, that's going to take 5 years to develop, or I'm going to need 18 programmers and it's going to cost me $20 million. So, but you need to start with that feature set, and then you start ranking them. And there's all kinds of ways to prioritize and see but that's the work, right? That's the work that has to get done.
Okay.
You're on mute, Jim.
Jim, you're on mute. Jim, can't hear you.
The agile way is to say, what feature do you want first? That's going to cost you $10,000. That they don't mind.
Well, that's true, but a sprint can't just be maybe it could, but you're still going to have your backlog, right? Even in agile, you're going to create your backlog.
Right. So
you're going to have
that's the 500 things they want.
and then you break it up into sprints, and you'd say, and then everybody gets together and you have a community meeting, and you say, okay, we're going to do these 7 features in 2 weeks. So that's agile, and that's all. I did want to say one thing, and what your login example of the locker thing was good, and we did a very similar thing with the RSong artist intake that we did. We ended up using Google and Facebook's single sign-on. So the whole complexity of managing user accounts and passwords was done by them, as long as we had the requirement that a user using our system has to have either a Facebook or Google account. So the use case was log into the system, and a prerequisite was must have a Facebook or Google account. But
yeah. If you could support Auth0 as well, I wouldn't cringe so much.
Right. Well, we were under a budget constraint, right? We had to get it done fast. And right now you can even though it took the developer a few days to work out the kinks, mostly with the Facebook single sign-on, the Google single sign-on worked like a charm, and it's really a couple API calls into the Google system, and you get authenticated.
Well, I think Auth0 has the same API.
I think you're right.
So that could be a nice third choice where they can get a free account and not go to bed with the devil.
And there are a couple of people who don't want to do that, but we figure for our target audience, so it's choices, right? And that's a great example because everything is going to come down to, choices, resources, all that stuff. So does that help, Steve?
Yeah, well, that's, yeah. And so what I am willing to do is, as we come up with ideas, I can be the scribe for this session to kind of take down the notes that, in the direction that we're going, so we can kind of, figure out what do we want to do during this hour for dApp development. So
I was going to suggest something a little different.
Okay.
I was thinking, well, if you start with your high-level use cases, maybe you bring them and we work on fleshing out the functions and the feature set as your dApp and grow your dApp, and we could then build your dApp organically. And, if anybody else wants to do the same thing, maybe we give each person, 15 minutes. We work on their use cases at that high level. And as the weeks go on, you'll see that your dApp begins to take shape and to morph into the point where we could then talk about what's the best way to implement each of those use cases.
Yeah.
Great idea.
But the idea of scribing this working group is something else that can get collab rewards. And really, at the governance conference, Vlad is our vision of governance that we're supposed to be following. And
what is
everyone? Vlad.
Oh, Vlad. Okay.
Okay, and he's written many good articles, a lot of them about blockchain governance, whatever. But basically, his direction to us is that every working group has a guide and a scribe. Now, in the case of this group, it's fallen out that Ned and I are sort of co-guides. So if you could take the responsibility for scribing, I expect Gary and others and Adi and others can help, but somebody has to take the responsibility for scribing. Certainly that would be eligible for collab rewards, and follow the governance pattern that we have as a working group to have people assigned to roles to keep us organized and functional as a working group. Speaking of, and I know you haven't really committed any time before much, except that you have stated an intention to do certain things. And I'm not really asking for, you to commit to what you don't want to commit to, but to take on things that you can and try to pass them off when you can't do them anymore, whatever. But you were talking about improving the education and the documentation,
right?
We repurposed the RChain education channel here. We can put in the links to Joshy's resource and sort of build the people who are going to edit and update the wiki, the education wiki, so that you don't have to do it all yourself, for one thing.
Yeah.
And so that we can organize it and present it in a manner that is really helpful to developers, and do it in a collab context so it is eligible for rewards.
Okay. Yeah. Now, organizing and collating, curating learning materials, that's a big undertaking. I had kind of reflected on that a few months ago, but it's in that regard. I'll do what I can.
Yeah. Well, the only thing you suggested you might do is link in the computational calculus course material.
Well, right. So
And can I show you something on that?
Hey, Gary, sorry, I apologize. I have to run. I actually have a doctor's appointment I have to get to. So I will be back next Tuesday, and maybe, Steve, we could start working on some of that with the group.
Okay, sounds good.
And
Thanks, Ned.
Yeah, anybody else, and I'll see you guys on Discord, if not before then.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, look
Steve,
at that.
But before we moved on, and I forget it, on the Colab Mattermost, if you'll go over there into the computational calculi directory and do a /dig_A, you'll see this screen right here.
Okay.
These are links to all of the videos of the computational calculi.
Oh, perfect.
And I don't, it's already done.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's helpful to you, but
actually it is. And I haven't really been engaging with the Mattermost. So that's a tool that you've all developed and have been cultivating. But my tool has been Discord and YouTube. So now I'm need to branch out into these other tools. So thank you, Gary. So I'll be sure to check that out. That's essentially what I was trying to get. And I think maybe if that's available on multiple locations, for instance, having something like that on Rolang.org may be helpful to others as well,
Gary,
that they can go to.
Gary, why don't you copy and paste that table into the Colab log?
I don't think it'll go very well, but I'll try.
Why wouldn't it?
Well, I don't think you're going to get the graphics.
That's probably true.
What channel was it in? I'm just trying to find it now.
Computational calculi on the Colab server.
Colab server, not the RChain domain, the Colab domain.
Yeah, I think I'm in the Colab domain.
Okay, well, let me send you an invite.
You can just add him.
Okay. I'll add Audie to the. Well, no, not if he's not on the server.
He's in the RChain for sure.
I think I'm in the Colab. It gives me two options. It gives me
no.
RChain.
Share your screen.
All right.
Or you can't.
Yeah, this is where I am currently.
Okay, so you have the Colab. You're in the Colab now.
That's right.
Computational calculus. There you are.
Now do a dir/A.
Ah.
Slash dig.
Dig.
Dig. Okay. Oh, there we go. Right, that makes sense.
And you could do that at any channel that someone has set up.
So copy that whole table right there. Okay.
We'll see what it does.
And paste it into the log.
Sweet.
Oh, it did get the graphics. Okay, never mind.
It didn't get any graphics.
Oh, no, but I meant the grid.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I see, man. I might just get rid of the couple of the columns though, just to clean it up a bit.
Yeah. Well, you could just leave that for now.
Okay.
You can, yeah, obviously we can clean that up. But we might want to use those columns for other purposes, whatever. You can always add columns too.
That's true.
But unfortunately, the rich text to markdown tools don't seem to handle tables well. We could try it. Go to mark it down. Paste it in there.
Oh, well, yeah, that pasted really well. Convert to mark.
I don't think it made tables. Doesn't. I don't see the vertical bars in there. Do you see the vertical bars? I don't see them.
No.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a better tool for that. But actually, we want them in wiki format, which is probably pretty close to mark it down, right? The alternative is to just put the table in a document and just put a link into the wiki to the document. All right.
That could work as well.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. We have 5 minutes left in the hour.
I've got a project that I'm interested in creating. How about the rest of you guys? So Ned has offered to kind of work with us on particular projects to work us through the fundamental part of architecture.
How long have I been asking you for the user stories? I've been ready to work on it all along. I said, give me the user stories.
but it's more official with Ned. He's an RChain employee, so he's being paid to do this. So
if he could come up with a template for this thing, so that we would. I mean, he's got an idea in his head of what he wants, and if he could just kind of give us a toy model of that might give us a place to go.
I think you do have a presentation, right? You share the link to the presentation, or do you want to do the presentation?
Who are you asking?
Steve.
Oh, okay, I don't understand your question.
I don't either.
What presentation?
The presentation of what you're trying to do.
Oh yeah, here, yeah. So Leah, and that would be helpful to get everyone kind of up to speed as far as what I'm working on. Thanks, Jim. So here, let me grab a link here.
Well, this is going to be helpful, but what I was talking about was if Ned could come up with a skeleton or something for us.
Yeah, and actually what I'll do is I'll circle back around with Ned to see if we can create a template of, so in this effort of doing, feature mapping and architecting, what are some of the the general things that we need to consider? How in order to organize our thoughts, what is this template or a guide, what it would look like? So and I think that would be certainly be helpful for me. And so I'll get with Ned to kind of create this. So maybe by Thursday, so this is Tuesday of next week, in my effort to come up with ideas for features, it'll coalesce around a template. So I'll have two documents, a template document and then my input. And what I've done, Jim, is in the members folder that you've shared with me, I've under working groups, I've created a new working group called dApp developers. So as we create documents and any resource materials that we'll find useful, we can put it into the dApp developers folder under working groups as a repository that we can go to for future reference.
Right. So put the address, put the URL of that folder into the dApp's channel and pin it to the channel.
Okay. So I'm going to put it in here first. You know, it's amazing. There's a lot of administrative things in order to be organized. These are great organizational things to do. So thanks, Jim.
Yeah, that's what we have to do is get organized if we're going to beat the Chinese. I mean,
we're working with the Chinese. We're there.
Yes. And we're going to do as well as they're doing right now.
We want to do is right. There are partners.
That's right.
In all this.
Frenemies, as Kit Blake would say.
Frenemies, yeah. Well, and there's been some cooperation, and I think there's a good chance of cooperation with the Chinese community for sure.
Sure.
Right now, and it's mostly because we speak a different language that where our activities are largely independent. Wow. Part-time to help out with member communications, etc. I can now afford to dedicate some time to this. Would love to have a Zoom call when you can.
What are you looking at?
Daryl, what's his name? Daryl IN. Daryl.
Oh, Nordorf?
Yeah, I think that's it. He's the guy from, the musician guy.
Right.
With the bald head.
Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time together at the governance conference, the members meeting, and in Berlin.
Yeah.
And he's a very positive, good RChain person. I'm really happy that he's got a contract and he's on board.
What channel are you seeing that in?
Oh, it's in a direct message.
Oh, okay.
He wants to have a Zoom with me.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna put him to work.
Okay. So, and I'm sorry, I was doing two other things while you were talking. So, what capacity is he signed on with RChain?
Member communications, etc.
Members communications. Oh, okay.
Okay, so
have any of you seen Lamouette's page yet?
I was just saw that note in the members channel. So thanks for.
Here's the link to that.
Okay.
This looks interesting.
Yeah, maybe you should put that in the dApp developers channel too.
Okay.
But Oh, let's see. Um, uh, get down, puppy. So I'll try to. Things are coming together.
Yeah, it's that magic ingredient when people start coming together and focus their collective minds on things.
Yeah, I've had meetings with Rao and Greg and Steve
Ian?
Tablet Ross, and um, there's a lot of things happening, and they're all good.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to take off.
All right, Gary. Good chatting with you.
Yeah, great. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Have a great day.
Yeah. He's gone.
Good to see you, Audie. We'll see what we can do to help you find your groove.
Yeah.
And maybe it's GraphQL. Who knows?
That's true. Yeah.
I think that'll bring things together well. I mean, Ned has done databases and stuff all his life. He knows SQL.
Yeah.
Okay. You could sort of bring him into the GraphQL world.
Yeah.
And
And then plug it into an RChain backend, essentially.
Yeah. And, you find out, where you want to, learn, I mean, I haven't sensed a tremendous amount of interest in learning, Rolang. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's good to know some Rolang, but if it's not your passion, find your passion.
Yeah, Rolang's okay, but I wouldn't say I don't find it as exciting as, say, like the portal work, for example.
Right.
I enjoyed that.
Oh boy, I hope we can get to that, and maybe if the collab gets some funding, we can get some good coaches to guide us in, so that we're not stumbling in the dark with this shit.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about it. I think what I want to do with Rolang is make it more, probably where I'd be interested is making it more connected. Because currently Rolang exists in the Rolang sphere of things with minimal kind of connections to the outside world, if you like. But initially, to really get it to spread or get it used, you need to be able to, in the interim, use it with other things.
Yeah, have you seen Tomislav's extensions to our node?
Whose extensions are?
Thomas Love.
No,
I guess he's not in these sessions very often.
yeah.
He's almost always in the Casper stand-up and computational calculus, and often in Dan's hours, and all these things are like at 3 o'clock in the morning for you, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So, but he's amazing, and you might want to watch some of the videos. Just go to the Divi video channel.
Yeah.
And browse around. You know, you can look at the views to see which videos are popular.
Oh, yeah. And what's he doing? Is he just put some extensions in to make it?
Well, he's doing a lot of stuff, but he has a version of Rolang running in K framework.
Hey, what frame?
So he's implement K framework.
Okay.
It's really he's written his own, but he's also, you know, updated the, you know, he's cloned the source code of RChain.
Yeah.
Added features to it that connect to the outside world.
All right. What do you know? Yeah.
Okay, it essentially adds an HTTP
Right.
channel.
Yeah.
Okay, and when you write the channel, it can execute an API
Yeah.
or retrieve a page, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, you have a return channel, you know, so you can perform some function in the real world and get a result back.
Yeah.
And if you listen on a URL, you're a web server.
Yeah.
Okay, people can write to you.
Yeah.
So that stuff is awesome. And I hope it gets, I pray that it gets in. There are some issues with it. Okay, he's come up with an architecture where you run a standalone R node and then communicate with the real chain. So your standalone node does all this outside world stuff.
Yeah.
And then you post to the, you know, you post to the outside world what you want to get global consensus on. And there's a number of issues there that have to be solved before these features can be put in. Because let's say you have an API that gives you the time of day, for example. Now, there are probably other ways to get the time, but let's just say that. Okay, when each of the validators calls this URL, they're going to get a different time. So they're not going to reach a consensus.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is why we sort of want to decentralize RChain and have, you know, sort of the client trusted stuff. Okay, so that when the validators get it, they accept the time you got as being right and don't bother to try to validate it.
Yeah.
Okay, because you're the client and you got it, and you know you're the source of it, right?
Yeah.
So why they don't need to check it? But in some cases you want to check it. You know, that's something. You know, so that's really the problems of getting it into Mercury, is figuring out all those little details.
Right. Interesting.
So I haven't gotten any word as to whether the board meeting must be over.
They had a board meeting today.
Yeah, 2:30 our time.
Yeah, definitely.
And apparently funds were approved for dairy. So I don't know if not hearing means the funds for the collab were not approved.
Funds for Gary were approved? Which
For
Gary?
Gary.
Gary, okay.
Gary N. I don't have his profile information handy. But the guy who I know, I met in all the gatherings and is a friend.
Yeah.
And just got the funds for working with the community. So I probably have them come to a dApp holders, a dApp developer meeting, basically just to introduce himself.
Yeah.
And, offer, his services to help the dApp community, communications, whatever.
Sure.
Already next door for something like that. He's Gary IN on Discord.
Daryl.
All right.
I think it's Daryl. Daryl I.
Daryl. The last name is it Nick? Something like that.
Nordorf.
Nordorf.
Yeah, Daryl N. Daryl Nordorf. Here, let me get his.
Oh,
LinkedIn
DAYL. Daryl.
That's an L, right? It's not an I. It's an L. Here, let me. I'm connected with him on LinkedIn. So here, let me share Daryl's page.
So, and let's see if we look at today's notes. I can see Steve busily typing in there. I can see that you put the skill sets in here. Now, very often I go in afterwards and I put the links in.
All right.
So I'm going to take the skill set link here, if I can find it. Copy. And I'll paste that in. Now we should put the actual form address in here too. Control K, Control V, enter. Okay, we have the skill set in here. Maybe I should do it this way. Put the form. Skills. Oh, that's not really the skill sets. The skill set survey we're going to do in the future.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
what
yeah.
we have now is introductions.
Sweet. Okay.
We have the introductions. Control K, Control D, enter. Okay. And we want the form also. So we want the oh, okay. He just put this. I'm gonna just put this in members. I see. This is the project dApp. What I usually do when I want to copy this into like the dApp developers is I copy the whole thing like this. Well, I don't need to copy the extension, this part of it. It'll come out wrong anyway. But I would copy this, and then I would go to the Colab and go to the dApp developers group, and I can see that he already put this in here, which is fine. But I can put in here from at members, Shift Enter, Control V, and then I don't need to put the URL in because Gary already did. To give his information. I don't know why it said there's a new message here. Oh, I was going to do one more thing, right? Which is I don't know if it's worthwhile to show this. I'm just trying to show the patterns of cooperation that we can follow. If it's worthwhile or not, Steve.
Okay.
Okay. He's not sure.
Oh, well, I was creating a document called member skill sets.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so what we'll, here, let me share this, put the link in the document. So with member skill sets, as we,
Right. So we, okay. So what we need, in order for us to do the survey, we just need a list of skills. So that's all we need right now is a list of skills, and then we can send out the survey.
oh, okay.
And we can also fill it out manually from the skills people listed in introductions, in the introduction sheet.
Okay.
But what will happen is the Google form where they check off all their skills. I mean, you know, we could just leave in 10 spaces for them to put in skills. That would be the simplest thing.
Yeah.
But
well,
then there would be so many different versions of the same skill. But, you know, maybe we can come up with a good list of skills, and we can probably find one on the internet. And I don't know if I have this open or not. Probably not. Oh well. Digital Life Collective has a list of roles, which might be useful. And people, and I can, I got so many tabs open.
Well, what I was thinking was in our weekly dApp developer meeting, there's going to be, 5 or 6 of us. And those 5 or 6 members, we can I was going to create a document skill sheet so we can have kind of an idea of what each person knows. Now, certainly the broader community in that would, knowing what their skills are would be helpful, but chances are they're not going to be in our weekly dApp developers meeting.
Right, but if we have a dApp developers category in the survey, okay, then that would be useful for everybody, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so
okay,
we can have
we can ask people to fill it out, or we can fill out. We can add a column to the spreadsheet ourselves. Okay, they're not, or fill in the form for them. You know how Google Forms works, right?
Right, but I was thinking more of an immediate need, as far as, so we're going to create a template of a feature map, and I'm just focused right now on our weekly group, and those things are nice, but I gotta stay relatively focused. So my goal is to enhance our weekly experience for this 1 hour. And what can I do to do that? And so creating that skill sheet, as we kind of learn what each of our skills can do would be helpful.
Yeah.
So I'm not prepared to work beyond that at this point in time until I feel more comfortable that we're getting some traction with our weekly dApp developer group.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess, my only issue is, how many different times does a person need to put this in? and how many different places do you have to look to find out what somebody's skills are?
Well,
I understand. I understand that you're only looking at the dApp developer group of people that attend the meetings or what you're interested in.
Yeah.
But if they fill out the form, okay, you'll have basic information on them. Okay, you'll have the skills. Oh, where is it?
So Ned said that his expertise is in C, assembler, Visual Basic, C++, object modeling architecture. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, and they're rather specific. That was the type of detail that I was going to include.
Right. Well, did Ned fill out the sheet? What did he put? Control F, NED. We got 5 matches. Nope. If we look here, we have Okay, we have skills experience here, and we see list of things here. Okay, now what I wanted to do was add some columns so that we can handle this. Now, if we wanted to get, we could, for example, add a sheet. Add a sheet here about that had more fields in it, or actually link to another sheet where we have more permissions.
Okay.
But we have the goals and the opportunities. We have the email address. We have if they have an address, a LinkedIn profile or something they want to share, we have that. We have their location. Okay, so if they fill in their skills, I mean, great. Now, actually, we can't edit this, so we can't add things as we're learning them. But ultimately, we want to get the information on the sheet.
Oh, yeah.
Along with, that the fact that they belong to the app developer groups. You can filter the sheet and just look at them.
Okay. Yeah. Well, those are certainly good ideas. I want to be a little bit more focused, at least initially, with my efforts in order to get a little traction in our dApp developer group, because I don't want to get too watered down. I don't want I have a certain amount of bandwidth, and the broader it gets, the less effective I am. So I'm trying to be as effective as I can with what I can contribute.
Yeah, I'm just sure everybody comes in, they want to set up something new. Rather than update the rolang.org wiki, they want to put up another website, or they want to do this, or and I understand that things are specialized and they don't have the same things.
And maybe what I can do is just do it from my own edification, and it doesn't necessarily have to be part of the collab.
I'm just saying, you do it, but at the same time, encouraging people to use the tools and the processes and the norms that that are available already helps everybody, not just you.
Sure, and workflow.
For the same amount of work, instead of you being helped, everybody's being helped, and that's really what cooperation is about.
But I got to feel like I'm making some progress, and it's I don't want to get
too much.
I don't want to feel like I'm it's important for me to feel like it's at least making some progress each session. So how at time will maybe this will all come together. I don't know how. I don't have the answers just yet. I can. These are things that I'm kind of putting in how my mind is thinking. So I'm trying to move the football down the field the best I can, how I can. There's not. It's not. There may be not as much efficiency as there could be, but at least I feel like I'm progressing and I can understand the direction that it's going. So as I get a better appreciation for the broader scope of everything that's going on, there can be this merging of everything, but I'm not there yet. I don't
Yeah.
have that history and
Yeah.
that depth of experience with
Yeah,
everything.
you don't have to explain to me. Yeah, and I support 100% what you're doing. And I know I tend to sound contrary, you know, but I just try to direct people toward the most collaborative thing. I'm trying to set up collaboration among communities, and you're trying to focus on your thing, and you know that's understandable. You know, my suggestions may not be useful to you at this time, but I think you know doing things like you know setting up a channel and pinning items, relevant items to it, would be a good thing to do. I mean, that's the norm, right?
Exactly. So, and that's something that as I get more efficient, to be able to incorporate that broader, those broader activities that will benefit the broader community.
Yeah, and
So,
when we follow norms, okay, people don't have to communicate as much because everybody's doing things the same way, and
right.
we know
And
what to expect other people will do.
and it's all growth. It's all growth individually and collectively.
Right.
And this is what growth is all about. You know, it's the fits and starts that happen to get you there. So I will keep pressing on, and all of these things will happen in due time.
Okay, I can't find the survey link, so I searched for survey, and you know, rather than scrolling forever, I can find it right here. Okay, and
Oh, yeah.
we can put the link in here into the notes, and this is where we try to put the breadcrumbs, right? And then the breadcrumbs go into their proper place from here. And just doing a search in this document, I find stuff that I could not find any other way.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to run, so I will see you both later.
All right.
Hey,
You have a great
yeah.
day.
Yes.
Take care. Good to see you, man. Introductions. Sheet. Be clear what that is. It's a sheet, not a heat. And I'll put the form in parentheses for now. Oops. What happened? I hit the wrong arrow, I guess. Control K, Control V, enter. Okay. So, so getting new people to fill out the form is one of the things that we want to do. And, you know, we can mention that as well as we can scribble their skills into a sheet of attendees, meeting attendees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in other words, if you would have typed Ned's skills into here rather than on a piece of paper,
Right.
it would have been immortalized and useful for everyone, and something we could, you know, probably copy and paste into a spreadsheet or something.
Well, here, so let me pull up the that document here.
And any documents you created, okay, dApp developers folder. anything in there yet? The app developer meetings. Okay, so we could use this as the meeting log. We create a template that we use each week to fill out, much like the members meeting.
Well, let's see here.
You're familiar with the members meeting.
Yeah,
log.
that's what. Well, then it's going back to what you said as far as duplication of effort. So let me back up a few things here. So here's the members. It's probably premature then. So I'm going to hold off on setting up the dApp developers. Well, let's see here. I've already created the folder.
It should have a folder, right? Okay, and maybe we should copy and paste from the collab log into here. Okay, then it's not really duplication. What it is specialization, right? We're using the collab log so that everybody can find it. They don't have to look elsewhere.
Okay.
But the people who know are interested in dApp developer and are looking in the dApp developer folder, find the history. And that's just another step in the protocol of dApp developers meeting to copy the logs from last week into the dApp developer meeting document.
All right.
I mean, whatever, there isn't a set protocol for it. It's something that we that evolves.
Right.
And it's good, on the one hand, it's great that you have initiative, and I don't want to stem your initiative at all, but I think it's always good to talk about these things with another person and, do what you have a consensus on, if there is one. If there isn't, do what you want.
Okay.
But to hearken to the collective intelligence.
Yeah, very good. So what I'm going to do is, so we have a dApp developers folder, and we'll keep a log, just maybe copy and paste for now from the cooperation study log into the dApp developers log, so it's easier to find for our group. And then I'll follow up with Ned during the week to help to kind of create the ideas for a template for a feature map guide. So and try to come up with something for next week. Right.
So if you're anything, it doesn't hurt to you have an idea of something, just to create a document and start writing in it. And it doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that that's going to be the way that we do it forever or whatever.
Sure.
Just we have a way to do it. And doing anything in the right channel or the right folder is almost always a right thing to do.
Yeah, just get things going, and then become more efficient and optimize, at some point in time. So, but that's
Continuous
I th-
improvement.
yeah, that's a good thing, is to kind of get some momentum is certainly a good thing. All right. Well, hey Jim, I thought this was a good session. So I'll look forward to next week, and so this will be a good hour for everyone who's
Yeah.
interested in dApp development.
And I think this is a good introduction for people who are thinking about becoming a dApp developer.
Sure,
You
sure.
know, so I think this video in the can is going to be worthwhile.
Okay. Very good. Okay, so I'll probably see you. We'll connect up later in the week then.
Yes, maybe at the members meeting.
Yeah, I usually tomorrow's a busy day. Wednesdays are busy for me, so I usually watch the video replay of that. So probably Friday, the session on Friday.
What about a governance meeting? What's Friday?
Oh yeah, right. So I need to work on my calendar for the week. So let's see here.
Thursday is Joshy's. Thursday we have no testing and Joshy's hour.
Yeah, so Thursday, no testing at 10, and then yeah, I haven't been able to attend. Let me see what I got going on here. Maybe I'll try to attend Joshy's Rolang. So that's at 11 a.m. I'll see if I can attend it, but that's a question mark.
And then governance is 4 p.m.
Governance is 6 p.m. Eastern
6 p.m.
time.
Right.
Yeah.
I keep saying 4 p.m. We have a work study at 4 p.m. as well, right?
Work study at 4. Yep.
All right. And and then Friday morning, there's the Casper and computational calculus, and then Saturday, hopefully you will have Dan's hour. I don't know what happened to Dan this week, but last week.
Yeah. He's probably busy with something. But we made worthwhile time out of it.
Yes.
So, okay, good. Well, yeah, it's kind of good to kind of review what's going on for the rest of the week. So that was helpful. All right.
Okay, Guy.
All right, Jim. Well,
you know, for somebody who doesn't have any time to engage, it's great to have you engaged.
well, yeah, it's Mondays and Tuesdays are a little easier, but the rest of the week starts to become a challenge.
Yeah.
So, and it's a matter of trying to work with things and figure out how to become more efficient. So,
yeah.
In any case.
But we all have full lives, and that are limited, and the way that we can get big things done is if we all do a little.
There you go. There you go.
All right,
guys. Jim. Yep. Enjoy your evening. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.